Hi, it's Kelly Shepard. I'm coming to you from BreatheEasyWheezy.com. You obviously found me on my channel, Breathe Easy Wheezy, at YouTube. If you like learning about your lungs, hit the little bell, subscribe, and you can also find me on Instagram at Breathe Easy Wheezy with the little underscores, the lines at the bottom between the words, and you can find me on Facebook at Kelly Shepard. So, many ways to find me, no excuses. All right, today we're going to talk about pursed lip breathing. This is a really important breathing technique. We have used it for people with lung disease for many years. Pretty awesome. It's so awesome that now they're actually training Olympic athletes and pro athletes how to do it, because they get more, even though they don't have lung disease. Some of them probably do, but the majority of them probably don't. They need to learn pursed lip breathing because it helps them get oxygen into their bloodstream. And most of the time when we talk about pursed lip breathing, we talk about getting rid of carbon dioxide, and it's true, it does that. But adding that back pressure is a game changer. Pressure pushes the oxygen across the alveolar capillary membrane. Whoa, that's fancy words. You're gonna have to tune in because I'm gonna have a video on lung anatomy. Yeah, it's cool though. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. But at the very end of each one of our airways, we've got these little guys called alveoli. A lot of people say they look like clusters of grapes. And then they're wrapped in our vasculature. We would call that our capillary bed. Capillaries is just a fancy word for teeny tiny blood vessels, okay? That's it. That's where the magic happens in your lungs. That's where the oxygen goes from the lungs in the alveoli, and it diffuses across that microscopic thin membrane into the capillary bed. Again, microscopic, very thin. So that's what I call the magic. When oxygen can go from one place to another, that's magic. That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's what we want. Many of us, our oxygen levels will drop, especially my restrictive lung disease people. They know it. It can drop like that just from going from sit to stand. That's tough. So it used to be a long time ago, I would only teach pursed lip breathing to my COPD patients, but now I know more. Now I teach it to all of my patients. And honestly, my interstitial lung disease, my pulmonary fibrosis patients, my IPFers, they tell me it makes a difference. And that's what counts. This is all about you feeling as good as you can possibly feel. If you feel good, you function at a higher level. I don't know, that kind of makes me happy. I'm a functional girl. So, pursed lip breathing, breathe in through the nose, out through pursed lips. I'm hoping you can hear that. I am creating a lot of pressure. This is not passive, people. I see a lot of people do this. Don't hear it. I want you to pretend like I'm a real stinker, and let's say you're like, I don't know, 80 years old, and it's your birthday, and I made you a cake with 80 candles. What a stinker. And I said, okay, blow out the candles, but instead of holding the cake this close to you, I hold it over here. You're gonna have to create a lot of pressure to even get them to flicker. That's your goal. More pressure. I want you to play with this. I want you to play with this breathing technique. If you're just walking across the room, maybe you need less pressure. Maybe you can do that lower pressure. If you're walking uphill, maybe you need more pressure. Or if you're getting dressed and we're bending and lifting stuff, oh, I disappeared there for a second, lifting stuff up, then you might need more pressure. If you're carrying groceries, you're gonna need more pressure. If you're taking a shower, that is really hard for a lot of people, you're gonna want to apply more pressure. So that pressure, yes, it helps get the oxygen across the membrane, but it also splints open those little tiny airways that we talked about in the last video, obstructive versus restrictive lung disease. It splints open those airways for my COPD patients that those little airways, when they exhale, they want to collapse on themselves. It provides enough pressure to keep them open. And when they're open, we can get rid of our carbon dioxide. And if you watch the video, you remember that helps keep our blood, the pH of our blood, in the sweet spot. And that's what we want. We don't want too much carbon dioxide building up in our bloodstream, because if that happens, it makes our blood acidic, and that's not good. You don't feel good when you're acidic. Okay, if this guy, the nose, gets stuffed up on you, I get a lot of people that they have a hard time breathing through their nose. Don't worry about it. Breathe in through your mouth. Okay, the pie hole works just as good as the nose. Well, almost as good. I'm a big fan of the nose. The nose, this little guy, he does a lot of things for you. He heats up the air. We have those beautiful nose hairs. I know most people don't consider them beautiful. I do. I love nose hairs. I love them. I love them because they know what they do. They filter out particulate matter. So if I'm somewhere where maybe it's really dusty, it'll filter some of that dust out before it gets to my lungs. If I'm outside in the springtime and there's pollen flying everywhere, it's going to filter out the pollen before it gets to my lungs. That's cool. That's super cool. The other thing it's going to do is it's going to humidify the air before it gets to my lungs. And that's part of what the mucus in there does. And the mucus also helps trap particulate matter and bacteria and viruses. What? Yes. Who knew your nose was that cool? It is. It's true. So I think about this guy. He's part of my immune system. I have to take really good care of him. But like I said, if you have a hard time breathing in through your nose, go ahead and breathe in through your mouth. You got to get the air in, right? Now, if you wear supplemental oxygen, so you got a cannula on your nose, or maybe you're wearing a really cool ventilator, like the Life 2000, my all-time favorite portable ventilator. Yeah. You've got little prongs in your nose. Again, that's a cannula system. You want to breathe in through your nose, especially if you're on a pulsed device, because that negative pressure you're generating here causes the device to deliver you oxygen. And we can do a video about pulsed oxygen versus continuous flow. There's just so much to know. It really is. So anyway, we can't get to it all in one video. That would be too long. So we're going to break it up into a couple of different ones. Stay tuned. I'm going to have a video on diaphragmatic breathing, and I'm going to have another one on BS, also known as breath sequencing. Very, very important.